Hi again then guys, and so we've got another X-Tunes Extreme Circuit setup for you today, and this time we've gone for perhaps a slightly less obvious choice of extreme track car, a company which back in the day wasn't really associated with high performance vehicles, but more and more so in recent years have really shown some real proficiency in motorsport and high performance vehicles. Cadillac, one of my personal favourite manufacturers. And this particular model is the only, unfortunately, current production Cadillac that we have featured on the game. Now, this, as you can see, is a 642 pp tune, so not quite as high as some others, but it does weigh a little bit more than some as well. So I've gone for racing soft tyres. You don't have to do that, of course, though. For the suspension, we've got the ride height as low as possible, front and rear. Springs have increased to 12 and 1050, the dampers to 5, anti-roll we've left on 3, neutral camber and toe. We'll come back to the gearbox last, as we usually do. For the diff, I've chosen to go for an initial torque of 20. If you find that to be a little bit too heavy on the steering, you could lower it down to 10 or even 5, or adjust it higher for the opposite. Acceleration and braking we've got as high as possible. As far as power, obviously just fit everything, plus an oil change. I have fitted the optional rear wing and also the optional body kit, and very importantly, most importantly of the visuals, the flat floor, because that increases your PP, of course. We've got the full weight loss package, and as I said, it's still a pretty heavy car at 1440 kilos. Then for the gearbox, due to of course the flat floor, this is far from being a top speed tune, so we've got an auto setting of 205, then individual gears of 3.8, 2550, 1850, 1425, 1150 and 950, with a final drive of 2.8. So that's it overall for this car's X-Tunes setup. Now let's take it out to a real racetrack to see how it performs. Now, as I said, this is not an obvious choice of high-performance extreme track car, but being as proficient as Cadillac are now with their performance cars, it actually makes a surprisingly good track machine. It's a relatively compact car in terms of its dimensions compared to the size of the engine and the weight of the car, so you can actually get this car to take corners surprisingly well. And although it's not the strongest of cars for top-end performance, you can make it into a surprisingly competitive circuit racer, especially given that, unlike many of my other X-Tunes, the PP on this car actually isn't as high as some, which can potentially make it more usable on a more regular basis, say for 640 or 650 PP racing. So if you do decide to use this X-Tunes build, obviously I hope you find it fun and competitive, and be sure to subscribe down below for more like this in the future. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.